Hey everyone, this is David Brown with the migration update for March 29th, 2024 from the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch. We're just a few subscribers away from reaching 5,000, so if you enjoy these daily videos and aren't subscribed, go ahead and please hit that subscribe button. Kim and I started out at the Braddock Bay East Spit, where it was a chilly morning but beautiful with sunny skies. On the walk out, this male red-breasted merganser was perched up nicely on a rock, so I took his photo. Here we have an adult gull in breeding plumage, so looking at the back here, we see a medium gray color. We see yellow legs, so that rolls out herring gull, and we see that the bill is yellow with a black ring on it. That makes this a ring-billed gull. I think this American robin was late for work. Here we have a black bird, and in the shoulder area here we see some red and yellow. And they're kind of hidden away in this posture, but when the bird was flying or if it was up singing, it would really display those. This is a red-winged blackbird. Here we have a pair of ducks. On the left we have the male. We see brownish sides. We see a head that has some green to it with a white forehead stripe. These are American widgeons. We had 30 species from the East Spit. The East Spit wasn't very birdy, so we were able to head over to Braddock Bay Park a little bit early and spend some time out on the boardwalk. Here's a photo taken around 8:45 a.m. and you can see it was still a beautiful sunny day. But here's a photo from only a half hour later, and it had completely clouded over, and it stayed cloudy throughout the morning, and the winds were moderately strong from the west-northwest in the morning, and then as the day went on, they shifted more northwest and strengthened in the afternoon. And shout out to Mark, who walked out onto the boardwalk in his red jacket so that he and his sons would be able to see him when they watch this video. I wasn't sure what to expect today, but it's never a bad day when you start off with one of these. This is a rather large raptor, and we see pointed wings, so we should be thinking falcon. And we only have one large falcon that we see regularly, and that is the peregrine falcon, the fastest animal on the planet. And you can see a bit of the facial pattern as well here. Here we have a group of 5 all dark birds. We can see a little bit of yellow here on the face, and we see that they have fairly long tails and long necks. This is a group of double-crested cormorants. There was a moderate turkey vulture flight throughout the day, especially in the morning and then again later in the afternoon, and we ended up with a few hundred of them for the day. Here we have a hawk that's shaped like a flying cross with a long tail and a large head, and long wings held out straight with rounded wingtips, so we should be thinking accipiter. We see if this bird was perched up in front of us, it would have brown vertical streaking on the breast, especially concentrated on the upper breast. We see that it has its white undertail feathers fluffed out, and that's because there was another Cooper's hawk flying around as well, so they were a bit agitated. But all these field marks together make this a juvenile Cooper's hawk. Here we have another hawk that has some brown vertical streaking on the upper breast, but if we look at the shape of this, the tail isn't quite as long and skinny. It's a little bit wider, and it's still a fairly long tail, but it's not as long as we saw on that Cooper's hawk. Very broad wings on this bird, and we see some pale crescents near the wingtips. So this is a buteo. This is a juvenile red-shouldered hawk. Here's a bird that I first picked out flying towards us with its distinctive stuttery flapping style. And we see that it has kind of a flat head that goes to a very sharp beak. We see that it's yellow underneath with a black bib, and otherwise it's pretty plain, and we see some white outer tail feathers. This is an eastern meadowlark. Here we have 3 swans flying together, and notice that the wings are all white. Earlier in the month, when we were seeing snow geese migrate through, they have a lot of black near the wingtips. So that's one way to tell snow geese from swans. Looking at the head of these swans, we see an orange bill with some black on the face, including a black knob. So we know that these are mute swans. And mute swans are a species we sometimes have mixed feelings about because it's a non-native, or you could even say invasive species. But at least they're not making a mess in the grass like the Canada geese are. Kim left and brought a pizza for lunch, and it was a little strange the way they cut it, not into normal triangular slices, but cutting it into squares and very tiny triangles that are mostly crust. But anyway, it was delicious pizza, and some of you may know that I've had mixed results with eating pizza as a Hawk Watch counter. It's a long story, but it involves a dog at the Montclair Hawk Watch. Some of you know the story, and maybe if you leave a note in the comments, I'll tell it sometime. After spending some time in my car in a pizza daze, it started to clear up, and husband and wife duo Greg and Shannon showed up, and we all went out to hide behind the platform to stay out of the wind and enjoy the afternoon migration. And the birds put on quite a show. Here we have a nice look at an immature bald eagle. Notice the splotchy white throughout the underwings and underside of the body, as well as the large head. That's how we know it's a bald eagle and not a golden eagle. Here we have two more immature bald eagles fighting. Once again, note the large head and splotchy white throughout the undersides on both of these birds. Here's another bald eagle. This one looks like an older immature, and we watched it drop down and catch a fish out of the bay, which you can see here. Here we have a hawk that has that classic buteo shape. We see dark patagial bars and a dark belly band, so we know that this is a red-tailed hawk, and we know that it's an adult because of the dark trailing edge to the wings and the red tail. Here we have a somewhat large, dark bird that was giving deep croaking calls, but this is not a raptor, this is a corvid. We see it has a big head with a large bill, and we see that the tail has shorter outer tail feathers, giving the tail a more diamond shape. This is a common raven. Here's a very poor photo of a small raptor that was hover hunting over the field. We see that it has pointed wingtips, so we should be thinking that this is a small falcon, and there's only one small falcon we get that hover hunts, and the orange tail here is a hint of that. This is a male American kestrel, and he was just facing into the wind and flapping and staying completely stationary as he looked down below to see if there was any prey for him to catch. And here's the bird of the day. This is a large dark raptor with 3 points of white, one in the center of each wing and the base of the tail. We see a somewhat small head compared to the longer tail, and curvy wings that pinch in near the body. This is an immature, probably a juvenile, golden eagle. The bird was high overhead, but gave us a nice soar against that blue sky. It was a beautiful look, and this is a bird that was spotted by Greg, and it was a really special moment for Shannon because she needed this as a life bird. And Shannon's been coming out the past 2 springs, really hoping to see a golden eagle, and somehow kept missing them, including the other day when she literally was backing out of her parking spot when someone spotted the golden eagle out in front, and we weren't able to flag her down. So I think this came as a really nice sighting after a really tough struggle with this nemesis bird for her. And it was a great look for your first golden eagle, so congratulations, Shannon. Here's a really sharp-looking hawk that gave us a close look. We see it's in a glide posture with its wrists pushed forward. We see dark patagial bars and a dark belly band. This is a red-tailed hawk, and this is more on the heavily marked end of the spectrum of what we see. Possibly a northern or maybe just a heavily marked eastern. And we know that it's an adult because of the dark trailing edge to the wings and the red tail. And I'll end it with one more bald eagle. You can tell this one's not quite a full adult yet. It's kind of got that adult look to it, but he's still got some dark where it should be white, and he's still got some white where he should be dark. So maybe next year he'll look like a full adult. And taking a look at the eBird report from the Hawk Watch, today we had 51 species. And as always, the link is in the description. Taking a look at the hawk count report for our migrant raptor totals, today we had 272 turkey vultures, 6 bald eagles, 3 northern harriers, 5 Cooper's hawks. For buteos, we had 2 red shoulders and 5 red tails, 1 golden eagle, and for falcons, we had 1 kestrel and 1 peregrine for a total of 296 migrating raptors. That brings the March total to 7,396 and the season total to 7,554. Taking a look at the forecast for tomorrow, they're calling for a mix of sun and clouds in the morning and then cloudy for the afternoon, high in the mid-40s, and winds northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. So some wind and sun in the morning should get the flight going. I think the winds are actually going to be more westerly at the beginning, so we'll hope for some migration in the morning. I know there's a couple of groups coming out, and there's also an Easter egg hunt in the park in the morning, so it might be a busy day out at the park, but we'll hope for a good flight. For Sunday, it's looking mostly cloudy and then partly cloudy with a high of 46. Winds west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour, so pretty similar to other conditions we've had. I would expect a moderate flight. And for Monday, it's looking mainly cloudy with a high near 45. Winds shifting to northeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour, so that's a pretty unfavorable wind. Would only expect light migration. And then after that, it's looking like rain for a few days. So we'll hope for good flights the next few days and then have a little bit of a break. Today ended up being a really fun day at the Hawk Watch with those changing skies and all the excitement around the Golden Eagle. So I hope you're able to join us sometime soon as we come into April at the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch and the numbers really start to pick up and the season really gets going, especially in a few weeks when we start getting all the broad-winged hawks. From eBird, this is David Brown. Thanks for watching.